The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CI Rocks Cleveland. This is our SLA CID conference preview webinar, and I'd like to welcome all of you today. We're going to give you a great highlight preview of the events of the conference coming up in lovely, beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. And one of the things I just want to remind you, though, is to make sure you stop by and visit our sponsor, Aurora WDC. They have a booth at SLA, and they'll be demonstrating their First Light intelligence software. And you can also probably grab one of their Aurora WDC famous T-shirts. I know I have mine from last year, and looking forward to this year. So with the webinar today, we have with us JP Radicek, who is the president of SLA CID. We have Carolyn Lewis, who is the organizer of the 2019 conference, and her colleague Wole, I'm going to mangle this, Ola Bengle. Did I mangle that name?
You got it right.
Got it right. Okay, excellent. So they're going to give you an overview of the different educational sessions, as well as some of the new stuff that we're bringing to you this year, like our Intel mission, which would be lots of fun and rewarding as well. So with that, take it away, people.
Okay. Hi, I'm Carolyn Lewis with ExxonMobil in Houston, and I had the honor of being the conference planner for the Competitive Intelligence Division this year. And I'm excited to share with you what I think is going to be a great conference program. It's going to be busy. We have 4 events going on and 7 education sessions. This year, we're lucky enough we have no overlapping sessions. Sunday's going to be our big day, starting with the 7:30 breakfast and concluding with our networking event. So we're going to be busy and we're going to have fun, but we're also going to gain some new skills and ideas to take home. Hopefully also you'll meet somebody new and you'll have a new CI friend or two. So I was going to tell you a little bit about how this planning started. I knew last year that I was going to do this. Somehow my arm got twisted. So when I went to Baltimore last year, I started talking with some of the leaders in the division and also some of our regular speakers, and encouraged them to participate in the Cleveland conference. And so when it came time to actually compile the program, it was like a puzzle. We have some basic classes that we like to have each year, and we have some repeating sessions. And SLA is looking for more master classes for its members. So some people came to me with topics and co-presenters already, and others were recruited for specific topics. I was also working with some other divisions to try to get some joint sponsorship. So that worked out with the chemical division. The legal division, I was talking with them, but we did cooperate a little bit, but we couldn't come up with a program to share. So as you go through the conference, please thank the speakers and moderators as you meet them throughout the conference. They really are giving a lot to the division. While I said it's a strong program, I really don't take much credit for it. It's really up to the speakers and the moderators. So along with the education sessions, we're going to have some fun events. And it all starts out at the annual business meeting on Saturday night with warm pretzels and wine. So we're starting out well. At the annual business meeting, if you have not volunteered for the kiosk, we're having that again this year, please check with Sarah DeWitt. The kiosk is just a table, basically a tall table that SLA gives to some of its divisions to talk with people and let them know what's going on. And so we have to staff this with volunteers. So it turned out last year to be a great way to kind of network again, to meet people and just hang out when you got tired. Things got a little slow. So But I think the other thing that is super exciting, last year when we started talking about the conference, we were hoping that we could get our networking event at the at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And at first, it didn't seem like that was going to work out with SLA headquarters, but then they came back, and that's why we were late getting tickets out for everybody to purchase. But it turns out that we were able to share the venue with another group for that night. So we are very happy to be hosting our networking event at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we will be able to tour the exhibits. And then also have a private room with hors d'oeuvres. So that is going to be super exciting. I'm, really, really happy that that was able to kind of come about. I think the other thing that is somewhat new is the CI Intel mission. And this is a new conference-long event. And JP was one of the organizers for this. So JP, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the Intel mission and some of the other events that you're responsible for.
I'd be happy to do that. And thanks, Carolyn. Before I start, though, I think Carolyn's being a bit humble in what she's helped put together, because if you've looked at the schedule, there are amazing things happening at this conference, and everyone who's there is going to be able to be a part of that. And see it and really get a lot of benefit out of it. So in years past on these calls, sometimes what we've done is just kind of go through the schedule and say, hey, here's what's happening on Monday, here's what's happening on Tuesday, it kind of looks like this. That's not what we're aiming to do here. We want to give a little bit of a behind the scenes look, because we can look through the schedule and do all that ourselves. So want to make this a little bit exciting for you. And one of those things that we've never done before is the CI Division Intel mission. And as Carolyn said, this was a little bit of brainstorming that went on kind of after last year's conference. And we thought that there are things like scavenger hunts that headquarters puts on, and there are some booth crawls, those types of things. But the engagement that we have with CID members is really strong, and we want to reward them for that. With a great lineup of talks and with some of these great events, we also lined up some sponsors to help reward people essentially for their participation. So when you come to Cleveland, which is my hometown where I grew up, so I'm very excited about that too. When you stop by the kiosk that Carolyn mentioned, you'll be able to pick up an Intel Mission card. And on this card, which I'm not going to show you a picture of because it's top secret. Actually, we just haven't created it yet, but well, it's top secret, And so on this card, you're going to have a whole bunch of different, essentially tasks or things that you need to accomplish. And these will be things like going to sessions and picking up code words that are embedded within the presentations, or attending things like the networking event, things like that. And as you do these things, you'll essentially earn entries into what are going to be raffles for some prizes. So as I mentioned, we have some sponsors. So we have AIM, or Atlas Information Management, Aurora WDC, and these are all exhibitors there who are stepping up and doing some great stuff for the CID. So you'll be able to pick up some prizes, perhaps, from those folks if you're lucky enough at the end of the conference after you hand in your mission card. So that's just something to write down. It's not in the program or anything, but make sure that you stop by the kiosk so you can get off on the right foot. The Intel mission, just to say a little bit more about it. Like I said, we're going to be looking for people at sessions. We're going to be looking for people at the various events. If you're a member of the CI division, you'll get some extra credit essentially for that as well. So very much looking forward to it. That's the Intel mission. You can also see in the upper right of the screen there, we have some other stuff that you can find at the kiosk. So we're going to have little stickers this year. Carolyn, you're a big driver behind that. So some CID stickers. With the Intel mission, we're going to have some other little paraphernalia that you can show people you're a part of for that. So lots of cool stuff going on. The annual business meeting that Carolyn mentioned, that's where you're going to get to see the CID board essentially showing all the things that we've been working on throughout the year. And these are things that maybe aren't out there yet, or that you may not see on a day-to-day or month-to-month basis. So everything from membership to mentorship programs to what we're doing with our schools in terms of liaising with them, and a whole bunch of other things. So the annual business meeting, you'll get to learn a lot more about the CI division, and if you're interested in volunteering with the division, that's a great place to go and learn a little bit more and see what opportunities might be available. Another event we have will be the breakfast with the CI fellows. So that is going to be, well, something we've done before, but essentially you're going to be in a room with a bunch of CI Hall of Famers, and it doesn't really get any better than that. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different topics. Again, everything from things like mentoring and learning and how to market a little bit better. And there's no better group to do it than the CI Fellows. So we're looking forward to that, even though it will be an early morning event. And then, as Carolyn mentioned as well, the networking event at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum. If there's anything you do in Cleveland, this has got to be something you do. It's absolutely amazing, even if you're not a music fan, just to see the collection of materials they have, some of the history behind it. It's just a really cool building in itself. So super excited to be having the networking event there. Thanks, Carolyn, for all you're doing to pull strings to make that happen. I think that's about it for events. So Carolyn, maybe it's a good time to talk about education sessions now. It might be on mute.
On mute. You mentioned the building itself, and recently the architect Ian Pei passed away, and I do believe I heard he designed the Hall of Fame. Is that correct?
Yeah, right.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. Okay, I am pleased to have Wally join us at SLA this year. He is a star at ExxonMobil. He has been working with a lot of kind of emerging technologies with our IT division, and he is actually new to his CI role. So I thought it would be wonderful for him to come and meet SLA members, but share his knowledge. So he is going to be participating in the CI across industries session. So Wole, welcome, and if you'll tell us a little bit about that session, because that's the one that is being worked with another division.
Yeah, thank you. I'm definitely looking forward to the trip and just being part of the SLA energy. So for me, coming to CI and sort of these new type of work has been very interesting. So I think it fits right in with the educational, right? So I think the session that I'm going to be part of is the CI across industries. And I think, you know, it's just something that I'm learning is right. There's this root need for CI across any kind of market segment. And I think it's very important for us to learn from each other's unique situation within CI needs. So I think I'm looking forward to just, you know, be on the panel with other folks within other industry, being able to share and you know, similar problems, but also have unique problems, and being able to, you know, grab or reach across industry and grab maybe different insights that we might be able to leverage and share with the audience, so we all can sort of, you know, grow within our own unique CI practices, right? So I'm looking forward to that, Caroline. I think it's going to be a very great session to not only get back to the basics. I think you see some of the classes there, Intelligence 101, the art of competitor segmentation, but also learn from each other's different industry and different experiences, sort of pushing the CI practice forward.
Good. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's great too. We have other speakers who are bringing in outsiders. So I think that is wonderful. JP, you are moderating the alternate futures of CI with our stars, Cynthia and Craig. Can you talk about that one a little bit? I know we always get so much out of them.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a good capstone to all the sessions that we have. And so we're kind of lucky that it happens right near the end here. You'll see it on Tuesday late in the morning. This will be one of those sessions where after you've talked about here are ways to, or here are new tools you can use, or here's different ideas to think about. Well, here's the future, and that's what's really cool. So they've done this for a couple years now. It's kind of a running series that they have, and they're going to be looking at how competitive intelligence evolves from a capability, from a field, just as a practice. So it can be very interactive as well. So I really don't do much moderating for it. I just hand them the mic and let them go, because in terms of experienced practitioners, you're not going to see anyone who's come across or worked with more companies than Craig or Cynthia have, and just kind of understand it. They're also both part of the CI Fellows group, obviously. So they're just well-respected, very intelligent folks to be having that conversation. So looking forward to that one.
And while I'm looking at the next three sessions, the CI division has some excellent master classes and we're using some of our experienced members. So this concept of segmenting competitors is intriguing. Have you ever thought about doing that?
Yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic or fascinating idea, right? I think obviously we all know in this practice of CI, competitors is a key thing, right? You're trying to understand the world that your company, your organization lives in, right? But I think the operative word there is art, right? It's not an exact science, right? Based on the industry or even the actual intel you're after. The science and art and that human touch of trying to understand how do you pick those segmentation, I think is very interesting. I think it'll be of great value to the audience.
And I think what will be exciting too is we both know that Phil and Elise are very dynamic speakers, and I know they've worked together many times in the past, kind of figuratively, but literally they were at the same company since the last conference. Not the case anymore, but it'll be great to see the dynamic that the two of those bring. They're always energetic, and so having that one kick off Monday morning will be a great way to get up and get into the mindset of learning.
I think it will. And Wole, how about the Project Spectrum and Competitive Intelligence Strategy Workshop for the new office? Or practice, what do you think about those?
No, I think that's also fascinating, right? So in my digital CI work, I look forward to that personally myself, given I'm trying to, take our digital CI practice from sort of like a beginning stage to the next stage. So I think it's just a great body of educational material and conversations around what are the lessons learned from people that have been in the field doing this, what are the things you should be thinking about, the foundational things that you should probably get right to optimize the success of that practice. So I think I personally look forward to that. And I definitely think that people on the call and in the room will benefit from that, whether new practice or even a growing one.
If I could really quick, what I really like about these two sessions too is that there's a little bit of a balance between interactive and learning as well. So whereas the opening the new office is going to be kind of interactive, understanding, sharing stories, kind of case studies. Well, I guess it's also what Project Spectrum is going to do as well. So a lot of times we learn from others' failures or successes, and so to have real life examples being portrayed for us in a very open manner is going to be really engaging, I think, too. Sorry, Carolyn, I think you were going to say something next.
That's okay. No, and Zena is, one of our well-known speakers, and she's also bringing in someone who is an SLA member, Karen, who is also from Houston. So we're trying. The Texans are trying to take over the world, in case you didn't know it. But anyway, I took a look at the conference to see what else might be going on that might be of interest. And this year, SLA is putting a lot of emphasis on inclusion and diversity. And that fits in, I know, with ExxonMobil's goals and with many other large companies. I frankly think that we can be of help to them if you have been involved in inclusion and diversity programs at your company, because I get the sense that the SLA community is somewhat new to this. But anyway, there is a newly formed caucus, the Diversity, Inclusion, Community, and Equity Caucus, and they're hosting several programs at this conference, including What Would You Do? Strategies for Dealing with Bias in the Workplace. So that should be of interest if that's a passion of yours. And then from the legal division, Zena and other colleagues are presenting the secret sauce, what you're probably not looking to find, I'm sorry, where you're probably not looking to find your client intelligence. And I always like to go to those kinds of sessions and, you know, learn about maybe things I've heard about but haven't adapted them as a regular, you know, process or source that I use. So they're going to talk about social media and hidden nuggets on the web. So that should be of interest too. And Jim, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the Public Policy Advisory Council, because you're a speaker as well at the conference.
Sure, certainly. So actually Sunday evening for 4:15, the Public Policy Advisory Council will be presenting a session around advocating with impact and how to advocate and how people in the information management profession can practice advocacy both within their own organizations or outside of their organizations to promote the interests of public policy issues that are of concern, interest to the information management community. So such as copyright, net neutrality, access to broadband is one that is increasing, where we see a lot of the sort of digital divide where people don't have that access to broadband if you live in a rural community, for example. We not have that. So the Public Policy Advisory Council is going to be presenting sort of overview of the issues and also some helpful tips and sort of experiences. And this is where I'm putting my politics hat on around advocacy and how, you know, you could actually present your arguments and advocate better on behalf of, you know, your fellow information management professionals. And so that is going to be on Sunday evening. And again, that's also in conjunction with the Diversity and Inclusion Caucus as well, because as you mentioned, Carolyn, that's something that SLA is focusing on. And those issues are important as well. So that will be part of that presentation as well. So unfortunately, I'm going to miss Chad's presentation again. I'll see it one day. I missed it when he did our webinar earlier this year. So there is some overlap, but it's great that there's a lot of different presentations across different divisions that you know, will highlight CI practices. And I know in the legal profession, CI is significantly picking up a lot of interest, increase in using it for business development, as well as other research practices. So yeah, CI, excuse me, our division is perhaps one of the better organized and divisions with regard to the breadth and depth of what we present as far as education sessions. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, some other topics that I saw that I thought might have wide appeal. There's a session on locating and leveraging key opinion leaders, finding hidden business resources, and this is mining the gray literature, deep web, and other hidden business and financial resources. And then the last one I'll mention is creating a compelling business case, how to make yours stand out from the rest. I thought that had some general appeal. So JP, since we, you know, Houstonians are coming to Cleveland, What should we expect? What is the downtown area like?
Well, I was just up there this weekend, and though I didn't spend a lot of time downtown, one of the things I love about Cleveland is just the rich history that's there. And whether you're into things like architecture or whether you're into things like the Christmas Story, the movie was filmed in Cleveland. That old house is there. There's no lack of things to do. Now I know that you're going to be busy going to all these CID events and the networking event and the annual business meeting, all that kind of stuff. But if you can't get out, there's lots of stuff to do. On the SLA conference page, there's a program of things you can do in Cleveland. But whether it's going to said more like the cultural kind of things that are going on, or the museums, that type of stuff. I was at the Museum of Natural History this past weekend. Pretty cool. But there's all kinds of other stuff. There's, with Cleveland being so old, there's a lot of ethnic villages that were established and are kind of still around, which is really neat. So I want to check those out, like Slavic Village, Italian Village, like all those places are really cool. And then there's also like the West Side Market, for example, which is a big public market where you can see all kinds of things that you wouldn't normally see in the grocery store in terms of animal parts and other delicacies. So Cleveland just got a lot to offer. Who knows what the weather will be like beyond Lake Erie. Probably won't snow, but we'll just have to see what the weather's gonna be like. But if we can be outside, go into any of these different places, that's gonna be a blast. I'm just really looking forward to it.
And one other thing I wanted to mention, I forgot about this. There had been some people who were bringing guests to the conference who were not SLA members or Competitive Intelligence Division members. And I was told that extra tickets could be purchased for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame event at the registration desk. So if you were bringing a friend or spouse, child, well, the child may need to be older, but if you're bringing somebody with you and would like to purchase a ticket, if there are still some available, you'll be able to do that at the registration desk. So that was just something I thought might be of interest if that is your situation.
That's important to note too. So in years past, we've had a little bit of flexibility in terms of people wanting to go to the networking events at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to be the case at the Rock Hall. And I think when we checked last, Carolyn, there were maybe 10 spots or something like that available. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, even if you haven't registered, just go get your ticket reserved for that because you won't want to miss it. I think we're limited to, I don't know what was the number, like 40 or 50 or something like that.
Right.
So it's a small amount, but make sure you do sign up for that because when's the last time the conference was in Cleveland? I don't know. Or when was the last time you were in Cleveland? I don't know. You want to make sure that you get to the Rock Hall. It'll definitely be worth it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so JP, unless y'all have anything else, I think that's about it for our overview. Jim, if you have last minute comments.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in Cleveland. It should be good. I'm actually coming down to Cleveland early so I can check out the sites and, of course, check out baseball. Because the Battle of Ohio is a couple days before the conference with Cleveland playing against Cincinnati. But I've been told that particularly, and maybe you could comment on this, JP, because I have to bring it back for people, is that the mustard at the Cleveland Indian Stadium is like something that's a big deal. So can you comment on that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple, like I said, there are longtime institutions in Cleveland, and one of those is ballpark mustard, right? So it's that kind of spicy mustard, not like your Grey Poupon or something like that, but something that you get like in the ballpark, you have to put on your hot dog. Absolutely.
So okay. So I already have a list of people that I have to bring it back for. My suitcase will be packed with mustard coming back to Canada. Hopefully they allow me to bring it across the border. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Cleveland. There's a lot of interesting stuff to do there. And again, lots of interesting educational sessions across various divisions that you can attend as well. So, and then there's some excellent keynote speakers as well presenting at the conference. So that should be interesting as well. And also, just remind everyone again, because like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame CID networking event tickets, the Aurora WDC t-shirts, they run out pretty quickly too. So you might want to get to their booth pretty quickly. When you get there, check it out. Check out their First Light software and see if you can grab yourself one of the t-shirts that they have. And just say hello to all the fine, friendly people at Aurora WDC. And so looking forward to the conference for sure. So I think so if I see that we have some time left over, we can give you back part of your lunch hour. Go outside. Hopefully it's nice where you are, and go outside and or just start searching for things to do in Cleveland. So I want to thank everybody for participating today. Just to let you know, for June, we'll be pausing our webinar series for CID because of the conference, and we'll be returning again in July, so stay tuned for that. And we'll bring you more interesting programming with our webinars from SLA CID. Thanks to Aurora WDC for sponsoring once again, and hope to see everyone at the conference in Cleveland, and then again back here in July for our webinar series. Thanks for attending.